familiar faces out there. If you don't know me, I'm Mike Mooney. I'm one of the captains here at 826. I work closely with the Firewise community out here. We've been working on trying to clean up your homes and our homes and all of our property, trying to get ready for fire season. Last year, we had some fires. The year before that, we had a couple of big fires. And this year does not seem like it's going to be any better. So far, we've gotten some word from DFFM, which is basically, we call them the state guys. They're the state wildland firefighters, and they put out the projections for the fires events for the rest of the year. And the information they're giving us is it's going to be a pretty bad year. It doesn't necessarily mean this location is going to be bad. They're looking at the entire state and the entire region. But if we go off their advice, then we can kind of deduce that our area might have some elevated fire risks. So we want to be ready for that. Let's see, we got some, so we have some speakers today. This is our first time, by the way, live streaming on Facebook. So we're going to be Facebook streaming to the Rio Verde Foothills Firewise Facebook. So I think it gets saved on there too. It's live streaming right now, but it'll get saved. So if anybody has any questions or anything, you can reference that a little bit later. But we're going to have, so I think Paul is here. Is Paul here? Anybody? Okay. Paul will be here at 12. He's, you guys might have seen his signs out there. He runs the don'tburnourhome.org website. He's got a lot of experience with dealing with stink net and invasive species and trying to get rid of that and maintain it for a long time. Getting rid of it one time is kind of a pain, but it's easy to get rid of at least once, but maintaining that reduction of all that fuels, you know, kind of a plan for us. We also have, I'm sorry, what's your name, sir? Jason. Jason's here. He actually sprayed our lot here with some pre-emergent, some weed killer. He may come up and speak a little bit and just try to help out and offer some services for the community and kind of go that route. We're trying to reduce the fire load. Soleil's here. Soleil's with Arizona Equine Rescue. Man, there's a lot going on this morning. Sorry, forgive me. But she's going to talk about evacuations, animal emergencies, stuff like that. She's going to come up and speak specifically for that. Darren Jeffries is here. He's got a whole list of certifications and qualifications. He's just a great asset to Firewise, the community, and all of us. He set up all this AV equipment. I don't even know what half this stuff does. Darren also is going to help us. So he's driving the whole community, and he's identifying some roads that need some help as far as access, ingress and egress. We all know of our little neighborhoods, our communities, some specific roads that are a little bit tight, single lane only. I know on my road, I live out here too, and if one car's coming this way, somebody's got to pull off to the side and let them go. So we're trying to map that out a little bit better. We'll know which roads are kind of our main roads that can have two cars going past, and it's mostly for a fire apparatus. So fire apparatus need to get in while people are trying to get out. These are the roads that are going to be kind of the main roads, and then he'll be helping to identify the ones that need some work. Jason, I already mentioned Jason. I don't think Cody Ream is here. Cody Ream, if you don't know him, get to know him. He's another great asset for the area. I'll let him speak as to what he's doing for us and what he's been trying to do. But he's going to be out here next weekend as well. So and speaking a little bit more about that. So if anybody has time next weekend, come on back out here. I'll get you the details of that. As far as the agenda, Firewise Debbie Catone is going to speak about our current events, what we're currently doing, and the success of last year. We had some great success. If you don't know, we have to, every year we have to submit to have our Firewise certification from the state. We just went through our recertification last year, and we were very successful last year. Thank you for everybody that logged your hours and all the money that you spent on updating your homes and cleaning your homes. So we did a good job there. We're going to read a letter. DFFM was trying to be here today, but they had some other prior engagements. But they wrote us a letter, and we'll read that letter to you here in just a little bit. Let's see here. And yeah, and then after all that, I don't know what everybody's here for, but we'll probably talk about evacuations. It's kind of a hot topic at the moment. We've been trying for a couple of years, and there's some stuff going on, but we'll kind of give you an update as to what's going on with all that and our plans for the future to kind of get that going. But Debbie Catone, she's our Firewise president, basically, and she's gonna speak for us for a little bit.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. One thing, if you could do for me, is don't forget, are you ready, Darren, to log your hours. All right. That is so important. In order to become Firewise, as some of you know, we had to do a community assessment. It was about 30 pages long worth of work that had to be done just to even apply for it. Our first year, we had a certain amount. They take hours and turn them into dollar amounts. So what happens is everything goes to a dollar amount, whether you spend it, but if you spend it, that goes into the pot too. The first year, we made our certification within 7 months, which is amazing for an area. We are one of the largest areas in Firewise. We have no HOA. We don't have landscapers that work for us. We don't have to just clean a ditch out or I'm sorry. We have a lot more work to do. And everybody out here has worked so hard between you all. That's the main focus, the ranchers. We are trying to get everything as Firewise as we can, but leaving the desert the desert. The big thing is the stink net. This year, we had a goal to meet, which was larger than last year. Because of you all, we more than tripled that goal. This year, we're going to need to do even more than that. The word that I've gotten, can I speak for forestry from the meeting? The word that I went to a meeting 2 weeks ago, and the problem that we're facing is the snowpack north of us is very thin, which means that north of us are going to get hit with fires. We got the rain where they didn't get the snow. So what we need to do down here is we're going to have all of this beautiful green shrubbery that we have, which is a hot mess. All of these bulbs that are coming up, Paul Deef, when he gets here, will be able to speak to you more on that. It's going to be a lot of work, and we need the public's cooperation to get this done, because we are very vulnerable in this area. As you know, we are on a one-way in, one-way out system, and we have a lot of ground to cover. Like I said, we're 19 square miles of homes, farms, ranches. We need to get ready for what's coming. I just want to thank all of you all, our board members, our fire department. They are our partner here, Rural Metro. We work with them, and we follow them. Everything that we're doing, we work together in unison. So we're not just a small organization who pops up. We have criteria all the way down the road that we have to meet. And thank you to all of our partners. We have sponsors that are amazing. Every year we're rummaging through more. But this year we have new sponsors. Amy Wolf Interior sponsored we love Amy. Amy is great. She sponsored our web pages, which is what we need to keep going. And we have Works Pest Services now. Mike, do you want to come up? Jason and Angela have graciously decided to be one of our large sponsors for this year, and we appreciate it. And I think Jason has something to give us. Mike? Okay.
Oh, I do have. Sorry.
Okay. They are going to partner. We're going to try to use the money to buy signs to put out on the roadway for education. That's a huge thing. And we'd like to get some public input on what you would like to see us do. And I think that's very important. That also engages the public. Oh my goodness. We just got a check for $500 to go toward that. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Jason and Angela do the pre-emergent, and so if you need that information, please stop by and see them. They have a booth in the back. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so we did the sponsors, we did all the thanks to the fire department, we've already done that, last year's effort. Come on back up, Mike. It's your turn. No donuts for you today. I'm sorry. Let's see, do you want to read the letter? Would you like Cody or Eileen or somebody to read? Okay, we're going to read a letter from forestry, so it'll show you the direction that we're going in. You can do it your way. Sure.
Okay, I'm going to paraphrase this letter because it's kind of long and I doubt anybody wants to hear the whole thing. But, okay, let's see here. So thank you. While DFFM is unable to attend today's meeting due to our participation in the Buckeye Air Fair with Smokey Bear, I sincerely appreciate the invitation and the continued collaboration. Thank you to Rio Verde Foothills community for being strong advocates of Firewise USA, your commitment to public safety, and for supporting one another throughout the challenges your community has faced. I've had the privilege of serving Rio Verde Foothills, both as a fire prevention officer and Firewise regional coordinator. A unique community without an HOA governing board, Firewise success here relies entirely on engaged residents and community partners. Leaders like Debbie Catone are more than coordinators. She's a catalyst. Their dedication, collaboration, and willingness to tackle complex issues like invasive species, evacuation preparedness, and neighborhood outreach are what make meaningful progress possible. Together, we are pursuing grant funding for hazardous fuels reduction, coordinating Firewise home assessor courses, and supporting community-wide home assessments. Residents are encouraged to continue assessing their homes and ensuring they are resistant to ember exposure and surface fire. You have the power to reduce your home's ignitability while weather conditions are still favorable. As Rio Verde Foothills enters its third year on Firewise journey, much of the hardest work organizing and prioritizing is behind you. This year brings meaningful growth, and we are in this together. So DFFM, if you don't know, that's Department of Fire and Forestry Management. They're the state firefighters, wildland guys, and they are the ones who run the Firewise program for the state of Arizona. They are the ones who are going to give us the resources and hopefully the grants to try to get community fuel reduction going on, right? So we were talking about Darren's finding the roads. He's got a map he'll pull up here in just a minute. The roads that are real inaccessible, real narrow. Some of the borders on Rio Verde Foothill, Rio Verde Drive. I know Cody's been working on that a little bit too. But trying to get some funding and some help to try to clear out all that vegetation so that it's not just individual homes. As of now, it's a huge help. If people do their individual homes and make their individual properties Firewise, that's great. Now we need to take the next step and go to community or county land and get some help getting some of that stuff reduced, at least on the borders, the edges, some of the roads. And they're going to be a huge help for that. So that was that letter, and I think that demonstrates a lot of support from DFFM, so that's great. What's next here? Darren, is it your turn? You want to talk about your roads and all that?
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Darren Jeffrey, resident here, Rio Verde Foothills. My wife Denise Jeffrey. So yeah, it's nice to be here. I'm just going to throw up a couple of things here first to show kind of what I want to cover. I just threw this presentation together, so just a little bit about me. Let's see, I think she's going to kick over to, there it goes. I'm a retired Forest Service hotshot, Vista Grand hotshots out of Southern California, but we're a national resource, so we chase fire all over the country. Local resident here. I'm also a current board member for Firewise. My wife and I are also federal contractors for the Forest Service. We rent OHVs to the fire department specifically for forest fire support. We don't rent to the public. We don't want to mess with that. Plus it's seasonal, so we get a little break in the wintertime, sort of. I'm a current law enforcement and search and rescue instructor, former Zion National Park search and rescue team member, 20 years of product development for rope rescue equipment and life safety gear. And I threw this in a little fun fact. I'm also the original course creator for the TV show American Ninja Warrior. That's just a little side note there. It's kind of, I went back and forth on whether I was going to toss it in or not, but yeah, that's a little bit of my background as well. Very interesting. So the goal of this presentation is to really just continue pressing the importance of having a Firewise property and being a member of Firewise as a community member and a property owner. We've sunk money out here, and now we need to guard that cash and guard our community. And then the key to that is just awareness, planning, and prevention. That's really what the Firewise effort is about. Once the fire starts, Firewise doesn't really have a role. We have a role before the fire, and then sadly after as well. So really, our role, is that planning, that prevention, and that key word of awareness. I wanted to start a dialogue. I know the dialogue's already out there, the discussion's already going, but I wanted to start weighing in from our point of view. With the first response agencies that are responsible for responding out here. We can talk as homeowners all day long, but I think there's a level of awareness for first responders that are not local to our area. So once the fire starts, we know that all of our local resources are all going to drive out, and they're going to be backed into people's driveways, parked alongside of roads, committed to that leg of the fire or that division of the fire. We know that. What we don't know is who's coming in behind them, who's an hour out, who's 2 hours out. Is it Mesa? Is it Buckeye? Is it Phoenix? Where's Scottsdale? Flag. All these surrounding departments are going to be responding, and they don't have the knowledge of our community the way we do. And so that's really where I get super excited about saying, hey, let's create a tool for those teams that are out there 2 hours out. And give them the information that they need so that they're not driving down the wrong roads and tangling up with horse trailers or people running around in their OHVs or, just kind of the madness that goes with wildland fire evacuation. So that's really my goal, is not to talk to homeowners directly, but more to talk to the EMS folks about their planning. But as a homeowner, I can take a look at the same map and I can say, oh, wow, these are some pretty nice wide roads. These are some pretty narrow roads, but they're still well maintained. And then here's some roads that are not well maintained, and you'd want to stay out of those. So I like to just say, know your roads. As a local, know your roads. As a local response agency, know your roads. As an out-of-town response agency, they're never going to know our roads. So that's where the gap is how to inform the out-of-towners. Fortify your property. Call for a free Firewise inspection. Log your time, expenses. Strengthen the community with prevention and preparedness. Pretty straightforward. So I'm going to switch to this map right quick here. And so my wife and I, we spent some time. So we live clear up here around this area here, right? Kind of by that yellow dot. So the yellow dot indicates an area that's probably wide enough for emergency equipment to stage and turn around without being backed off into the ruts and whatnot. And so those are important areas for responders that are coming in from out of town. They're not, as an old firefighter, we would never drive down a road that we didn't know we could turn around and get out of. And if we were not from that area and we didn't have time to send a scout truck to go look, we just didn't go down that road. We just rode off that whole section of the community. So that's a bad day for the people that live in those areas. So I wanted to identify some of these safety zones in the map. So I'm just going to pull out here kind of to that 10,000 foot level. So we drove the community with GPS on our trucks, and all we're doing here is showing an example. The blue roads here are all roads that are 20 feet or wider. So that means tractor trailers can get in while tractor trailers are coming out. That's a big deal, knowing where those wide roads are. So to me, that's a critical piece of information to share with responding agencies that are rolling in. As locals, we should just know our roads. The yellow roads are roads that we see are consistently graded after storms. We see signs of locals driving their drags and their tractors and their Gannons, maintaining those roads, but they're not 20 feet. So these yellow lines represent roads that are reasonably well maintained, but someone's going to have to yield to someone else coming in and out. That can create an issue. Every other road that's on here, I like to go up here to the top of 136 a lot because on paper it looks like you can drive all the way up here, but once you get to this corner right here, that's it. You go any further, and I know the folks that were working on this, I forgot, was this the Bullet Fire or the Diamond Fire? The one that was, this one up here. Boulder, yeah, Boulder and Wildcat. Yeah, yes, a lot of folks, you guys I'm sure were yeah, oh boy. That starts at, oh, is that Hawk's Nest? I think it's Hawk's Nest. My map's not showing street names here. Yeah, Hawk's Nest. So the corner of 136 and Hawk's Nest is pretty much, with big equipment, that's pretty much as far as you're going to want to go. And you'll notice that I didn't put an orange dot here because it's kind of not wide enough for a tractor trailer. That's a hard 3-point turn. Plus 136 drops off there. So there's elevation challenges as well as. Can we do that? So that's one of my notes to talk about.
We had up to 9 vehicles during that fire on our property, and they're saying thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's huge. It is. It's one of my speaking points. It's actually my next one, is talking about people that live in this community and finding ways for us to open our gates without opening up liability, because that's always going to be the concern. I've seen properties out here that could land, we could set up a helicopter operation on some of that land. It's so beautifully cleared, for example, but how the liability works, et cetera. These are some discussions that I think are ongoing. But when we see clear land in a community like this, we see safety zones, we see staging areas. That's what clear land equates to. As homeowners, we see liability, we see problems, et cetera. So there's a line there. There's just a conversation that should just be had about that. So getting back to that high level here, you know, the idea is that this map doesn't exist anywhere. It exists on my iPad. So I would love to find a way to get this map more polished, more information on it, and then get it socialized, primarily with EMS. That's really the goal of our discussion here today.
And then just recently, you know, it was backed up forever because of the accidents that were up there. We need to know which way to go.
Exactly.
And that would be lovely.
Yeah. And it's such a trick, because if one horse trailer has a problem, one pony gets out, that whole road can just be shut down. And so even though the map says go east, going east could be a problem. So, you know, I'm a huge fan of shelter in place, but I know that creates more liability. I'm an old hotshot firefighter, so I'm hoping that I'm home when it happens. Our property's fortified. We don't have to be there, and a fire can burn all around us. We'll be fine. But that also allows me to not have to even worry about evacuations. And so it creates a fine line, and that's going to always be a prickly discussion, especially when the sheriff's involved with their responsibility for evacuations. But is it mandatory? Is it not mandatory? I'm not going to get into that. Point being, we can Firewise our properties to where shelter in place is actually our first plan. That's how my family does it. But those are just things to think about. If you're a livestock owner and you don't have truck and trailer and crew to transport your livestock, can you shelter in place? That's the first question, please, right? Second question is, if you do have to call for a rescue, those are also, I would consider those EMS workers in this scenario. They would need, a map like this would benefit trucks and trailers that were coming in from across the valley. Where to stage, just to start a staging area. To start a staging area, the first thing we have to do is identify a staging area. Then we should name it. And now we have staging areas that are actually named. Now we can talk a common language. I'm going to go to the Bell staging area. You go over here to Saddle whatever and Hawkeye or whatever we end up naming them. But currently these assets don't have these cleared out areas. So a lot of them just don't have names. And so to me, that is the first part in getting some pins in a map where local fire department, out-of-town fire department, out-of-town truck and animal rescue assets can go stage. Say an asset rolls in, loads some horses, a truck and trailer asset, loads some horses, they're on their way out, the cement truck rolls over and that road's blocked. So now that whole plan is gone. And so that's where when we start talking about grants for widening roads and hazard mitigation, those are the moments where if these blue roads or some of these yellow roads could get widened up a little bit, it's just going to create margins of safety. I don't think we're ever going to get a playbook of evacuation plan, because we don't know which way the fire's coming from to start. We don't know how hard and how fast it's going to hit. It may just be a little finger that runs into a few homes. It may go wide and be an entire flame front that's going to sweep through the entire community. We don't know what that behavior is going to look like. All we can do is be aware of what roads are good to come in and out on, get some staging areas figured out, get them named, and then continue with fuel and hazard mitigation along some of these corridors. The last thing I'll share is that on this map, you'll see I've got this kind of red area that I just hand drew. So these are fuel breaks that have already been paid for and they're installed. The government, whether it's Scottsdale or the feds or the state, these are fuel breaks that you'll notice along some of these roads that are already there. That's awesome. So just looking at this right here, the entire finger of communities up here, we're actually already pretty well surrounded with a pretty nice buffer. So that's good news right there in of itself. We want to maintain that now. So legislation and lobbying for grants and moving forward, it's going to be maintaining some of these areas that we've already invested in. We want to keep that up now. Now that we've knocked out the big stuff, let's just stay on top of that. A maintenance plan, if you will. And then increasing these areas as well, adding new fuel breaks around the community. So, yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about. The last two things before I hand it back is I want to just give a huge shout out to the fuels teams that were out there doing the work along the side of the road, brushing out, dealing with some of the crazy traffic that comes around. So I just want to give a huge shout out to those folks and the people that hired them, the agencies that hired them. Thank you. Let's keep that up. I also want to give a huge shout out to the guys and gals that are maintaining these roads privately after the storms, bringing out their own tractors, their own drags, their own diesel, their own time, keeping these roads yellow. Because if those folks weren't out dragging, these yellow roads would be a junk show pretty fast. So huge shout out. So cool. Yeah, that's my talk.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, next we have, where'd it go? Who wants to come up? Soleil, your turn. So Soleil's going to talk about Arizona equine rescue and animal evacuations and whatever you want to talk about.
Whatever I want to talk about. Great. Well, thank you for inviting me to speak here today about livestock evacuation. It's always a hot topic in this neighborhood. And so I like to try to spend a little bit of time helping people understand the appropriate response in a livestock evacuation situation. Just a little bit of background, our organization's been around 25 years. We work with state, local, and actually we work across the state with first response agencies on preparedness, working fires. We do trailer accidents. We've helicopter lifted horses out of situations. We're what's considered a technical rescue team for livestock specifically, because a lot of first responders are not trained in livestock, and so they struggle with what to do with these big animals when they're in a bad situation. And we all know horses love to get themselves in bad situations, so I have a fun job. So first of all, I just want to talk about our area in particular. I think you know, as you're hearing from everybody, these fires move fast generally, in my experience, and I've been out here for almost, I don't know, 15 or more years. In this area specifically, a lot of what you do depends on the nature of the vegetation and what it is that vegetation, how it behaves in a fire. So in my experience in the fires that I've worked, and I've worked the Ocotillo fire, you know, the Desert Edge fire, Aguila fire, I've worked all these fires that have happened recently, and I even worked the Cave Creek Complex fire back in the dark ages. And I've also worked, you know, other fires around the state, Rodeo Chudesky and some of the ones down south. There's been, you know, we have a lot of fires around the state. My experience is that what you do with your livestock largely depends on the vegetation and the nature of what the fire is doing. And so in our particular area, given all the factors, the fire here moves very fast. And quite often, you can't even outdrive it because it's burning all that grass and dried out vegetation on the ground. And that tends to be a very fast-moving fire. Doesn't tend to be a huge smoke fire for very long. Doesn't tend to be a, you know, fire that burns, you know, big flames for very long. It's just kind of one of these flashy fires that moves through pretty quickly. Now, if you remember, we had a fire over from the train tracks. They sparked, and we had a fire over in Hassayampa River area by Wickenburg. That's different. You've got big tall trees, and you've got canopy fires, and you have, you know, different fire behavior for certain areas. So I'm talking about the fire behavior for our area. And the fire behavior for our area, our recommendation is to shelter your livestock in place. So in my experience in these fires, even if you don't have grass, that fire burns straight up to the area where you don't have grass. I've seen it go straight up to the edge of a home and stop because it runs out of fuel. And I've had it go straight up to the edge of animal pens. The animals are fine because the pens didn't have anything in them, but the grass was at the edge of the, even in the Ocotillo fire, I pulled a horse out of the middle of the fire, and there was fire on all edges of its pen, but it was absolutely fine. So I think it's important to remember that, you know, for us in this area, for the types of fires that we usually recommend sheltering in place. Now, if you don't have a cleared place, or if you have fencing that burns in a fire, plastic fencing or wood fencing, look at your neighbors and see if your neighbor has a cleared area or a safe area that you could put an animal in while the fire passes by. And I have people go, oh, I can't turn them all out in my arena because they'll all fight. Well, tie them up to the edge of your arena, right? Like, it's only going to be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you'll be able to put them back where they belong. So just keep that in mind because our experience is, and what happens in every single fire, is that everybody runs out there with horse trailers. We all know you can't get a ton of horses on each trailer. On my street alone, I have several hundred horses on a 1 mile stretch. You're not going to get them out. You're not going to be able to load them fast enough. You're not going to be able to get them out fast enough. And there's plenty of cleared spaces between round pens, arenas, that, you know, any open dirt area, and they should be fine. So, you know, for my rescue, I have 30 horses on my 5-acre property. We have a 100 by 200 arena. We have a shelter-in-place policy. We sheltered in place in the Diamond Fire. It came up our street. It actually came within, you know, a few houses of our property. And I had zero concern because our horses were perfectly fine with a fire break, just knowing how the fire behaves. Okay, so that's the first thing to think about. The second thing to think about is, and a lot of people forget this in their concern watching the flames, because it's natural to look at those flames and feel pretty concerned. They forget that they can actually get trapped with their horses in the trailer and get blocked by fire. So in your evacuation process, especially on some of these roads out here, you can literally be evacuating thinking you're doing the safe thing. It becomes a much more dangerous thing because now you're getting trapped by the fire and your horses are stuck in a trailer. Not ideal. They'll probably be okay in the trailer, but it's not a good place to be in my mind. And you're potentially blocking fire operations, which is why we always kind of say, keep in mind in some of these places, would you rather have a fire truck be able to get in to fight the fire, or would you rather get your horses out when they really don't need to go anywhere, when they're safe where they're at? So we really try to have people think about, are their animals safe where they're at? Usually they are. Usually there's enough cleared space around them. Horses, you know, walk enough that they clear weeds even if there are weeds there. They tend to keep, my turnouts are usually pretty clean even though we don't do anything to do it. And so generally, you know, there's going to be some cleared space nearby. I can tell you the other thing that we really encourage everybody to do, and this is for all animals, is to have a buddy system with your neighbor. So that if you have somebody who works from home that's close by, and you're not home, you're at work or somewhere else, you're not in a panic about what's going on. You have a, we had a neighbor south of us in the Diamond Fire. They had an elderly person that stayed there that had dementia. They had their dog. We had an agreement. We called them. We said, there's a fire coming. We went, we got the person, the dog, brought them to our property so we could help, care for them until the fire passed by, right? Because sometimes you're not going to be able to get home. The roads will be closed and you won't be able to get back home. And we've seen that happen in several fires out here where a lot of people at the top of the hill are very concerned. They're panicked because they can't get down the hill to their home and they see the fire going near their home. So this is a way you can be prepared, have a buddy system with your neighbors, and make sure that you're talking about, hey, if I'm not home and a fire starts, these are the things I would love for you to do if something happens. And this is the kind of neighborhood you can do that in. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, but that was really kind of some of the things. I won't go into anything. I don't know if you, any questions?
How do we get a hold of your organization?
Yeah, so our organization has an emergency line. So if you look at our website, you can always copy down that emergency number. I'm happy to give it out to anybody who's here. But also you can call the sheriff, you can call the police and say that you have a request for service for livestock assistance. And then we get engaged. They'll call us and we'll be able to go out. I also can tell you, like, people usually text me, and every fire, my phone blows up, right? You can text me, ask me what's going on. I've had several of the fires out here where people are like, should I evacuate? And I said, no, based on what I'm seeing with the fire, you don't need to evacuate, stay where you are. So, I can give you a little bit of my perspective of what you should do with your horses when I see some of these fires coming along, and help guide you. The other thing that we do as an organization is sometimes there's what's called hard fire lines where they shut down any traffic going in and out except for first response, which means that if you evacuated and your horses are still behind the fire line, you can't get to them. And so you can call the sheriff, and the sheriff is going to take a request for service, and we're the ones that will go out and feed them, take pictures, send them to you, and find out what you need us to do for your animals. And we care for the animals behind the hard fire line, or we can even pick them up and bring them out from behind the hard fire line if you choose to move them later. So there are options for you. Yeah?
So in regards to this ready, set, go from the system, is this hypothetical? If you have horses, the property's not clear, the fire's a threat to you, and you don't have neighbors that you can bring me to, should you wait till, like, when you have 5 or 10 horses, should you start evacuating on set? Or, I mean, because it's going to take longer to get them out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you have 5 or 10 horses, you probably need to make multiple trips. So what will happen in those circumstances, you would definitely, it's a good point, Cody, you want to leave on ready, probably, just in case. But in my experience, what I've found, especially in this neighborhood, you have to remember, when we had all the Boulder Fire and the Wildcat Fire kind of coming along the top here, we set up evacuation sites that were very close by. And so we had, like, Cave Creek Outfitters at 144th. Their whole facility was open for people to evacuate their horses to. There's a lot of, the Four Peaks here on the corner of 160th we had as an evacuation site. So if you do have quite a few animals, our recommendation is evacuate them somewhere to one of the evacuation sites that we've identified that's close by, because the fact is you'll probably end up taking them back home the next day or taking them the same day. And that way you can make multiple trips a little bit faster as well. Did that answer your question? Okay.
What is your website address?
It's azequinerescue.org. AZEQUINE rescue.org. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to put out a list of resources here.
Yeah, and we do have Facebook and Instagram, so you can find us at AZ Equine Rescue on Facebook or Arizona Equine Rescue on Instagram. And we do post informational videos. McDem also did an informational video on livestock evacuation. The Maricopa County Department of Emergency Management. They came out to our facility and we talked through livestock, how to be prepared and things like that for livestock evacuation. And so there's a nice video that's out on Facebook that you can certainly go and see as well. Anything else? Okay. Oh, yep.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hi, my name is Cody Rhyme. Yes, I'm running for state representative for this district, but I'm here as a resident. This is where I'm raising my family. This is where my business is at. And this is the place that I love. Rio Verde Foothills is absolutely the most special place in Arizona. Rio Verde Foothills is my priority, and it's a self-interested priority, and I think that that is most important with everyone. If we have self-interest and self-ownership in our community, then our community thrives. I live here because I'm a very small government type of a guy. I don't like government encroachment in my life. And Rio Verde Foothills exhibits that. That map right over there is us. And if you missed it, what Captain Mooney was saying about a state department, Department of Forestry, they're calling us Rio Verde Foothills. I mean, that's huge. We're not incorporated. We don't have government stated boundaries. We're an unincorporated area of Maricopa County. Generally, unincorporated areas of Maricopa County are viewed all in a lump, in the same bucket. But they're starting to notice us. We've made big strides in that with the water issue. We do have needs out here that the government needs to fulfill. But self-governance, Rio Verde Foothills does it best. And that map that was up here that Darren showed us, I've had concern over the last few years that our ability to self-govern in Rio Verde is coming under threat. But that map, and with leaders like Soleil, Debbie, Captain Mike, I have great hope in our future of self-governance here in Rio Verde. And I think it will benefit us well if we can continue to do things like this. We can be self-prepared and have our own sphere of self-governance on our own properties, keeping our land clear. There are areas where, stinknet, globe chamomile, the given name. I think that the state should step in because it's a threat to the Sonoran Desert. The area of the Sonoran Desert that we live in is very unique, and when areas of the Sonoran Desert gets disturbed, that's when globe chamomile sets in and it takes over and it chokes out the native plants, the native habitat. It's an invasive species that is from South Africa. It shouldn't even be here, but it's here. Now we have to deal with it. Rio Verde's doing it really well. New River got hit with globe chamomile pretty hard, and it wiped out a ton of vegetation. Fire hazard is huge. If you've never seen globe chamomile burn in the summer, it's like dumping gas on the ground and lighting it up. I mean, it's insane how fast and hot it burns. So I think that anybody here that lives in Rio Verde probably doesn't like big cities or big government. So I think that we can all relate to this. Jefferson said it best in a letter to Madison, December 20th, 1787. I think that our governments will remain virtuous for many centuries as long as they are chiefly agricultural, and this will be as long as there shall be vacant lands in any part of America. When they get piled upon one another in large cities as in Europe, they will become corrupt as in Europe. That's the goal for Rio Verde, is to keep us rural, keep us from being incorporated, keeping us from becoming part of another city. As long as we can do that, we can maintain our way of life here, and we can maintain our freedoms and our self-resilience and our self-governance. So I'm not going to get political. I'm a politician now, had to become a politician to start addressing some issues. I could sit here and lie to you and say, I'm not a politician, I'm just like one of you, but that would be a lie because I am a politician now, and not something I really ever saw myself getting into or really wanted to get into, but the more that I was involved in things that were happening around our area, the more very concerned I became about the direction that our county, our area, and our state is going. So that's why I jumped into this, and it is interest. It's personal to me. My family, my 4 kids. I've got a daughter who's 4. My youngest son is 5. My middle son is 11, and my oldest son is 13. And they need a future in this state that I have had in my adult life, and not a future in this state that I had to have as a child in Southern California, where my family fled that state to Colorado, and then I chose to come to Arizona with my oldest son. My parents followed me here, and we've been here for about 14 years. It's just, you know, I want my children to be able to live in Rio Verde Foothills and have a business here like I do. And so it's about self-preservation for our area, for our state, for our county. And I think if we can all work together and continue to maintain that, then we'll continue to maintain our way of life and our rural way of life here in Rio Verde. So thank you for your time. Oh, I was supposed to give an update. I'm sorry. So a lot of residents have been bringing in issues to me, and one of those issues was line of sight when entering Rio Verde Drive from many roadways. If you've driven around here like I do, I probably drive 150 to 200 miles around here every week before this campaign started. Now the campaign is 110% of my time. My business has taken a huge hit. But when I was working full-time in my business, I would drive easily 200 miles a week around just in Rio Verde doing work. And so I've driven every single one of these roads out here. And when people were bringing the concern to me that I was already aware of but didn't know that other people were having issue with it, that you have to almost pull into the lane of traffic or the bike lane in some of these roadways that enter Rio Verde Drive because the vegetation is so overgrown in the right-of-way. You know, yes, we can as individuals go out there and start trimming it, but we have, 5 miles of roadway that have a 50-foot right-of-way on both sides. There's no way that there would be enough resources for us to be able to do that, under a self-governance type of thing. This is why we have the county. So I've took those concerns from the residents, drafted an email, sent it off to County McDOT, Department of Transportation. They came back to me and said they agree. Many other residents have already sent them similar letters, and they've issued a work order with an inspector to come out and assess the situation to see how large of a scale of a project it's going to be. And they're keeping me and others updated. So along that process, as we get more updates on that, I'll, on my website, I'll have emails go out updating, and then through Rural Metro and Firewise as well, you'll get updates on that. But it seems like they're interested, they see our concern, they want to come out here and address it. Scottsdale just did it. That's what we're looking for, where they trim the trees, they run it through the wood chipper, and they put the wood chips down so it prevents further growth, because the wood chips block the sunlight, they hold moisture in for the trees so the trees can thrive, and the sunlight blocking from the wood chips prohibits or inhibits growth of the undergrowth of the weeds. So that'll prevent fire, that'll make our line of sight clear when we're entering Rio Verde from the north-south roads, and all over safety improvements. So there's an update for you on that. So thank you.
Thanks, Cody.
Amazing. Anything you can do to try to get rid of the stink net, please do that. That's a big thing today. One of the things that I want to mention is that we have maps back there. And I want to show you all this. This map tells you what area you need to clear for your house. Okay, so we're not only clearing our house this year, we're clearing beyond our house. But the main thing is the ladder fuels that can get to your house. If you have a tree that's touching, trim that bad boy back, okay? Do anything you can to keep your house fire-wise. This brochure back here is kind of like a lifeline. It tells you everything you need to know. If you have plants that are overgrown and dead leaves inside of it, get rid of those dead leaves. Even if it's 20 foot away from your house, go ahead and do that. Anything that you can do to protect your homes, that's the first thing. But right now we're now protecting our homes as well as the property leading up to it, because that's crucial for us this year. One of the things that we talked about was logging your hours. Anytime you go out and you work in your yard, jot it down on your calendar. You don't have to go right to the computer and log your hours in. If you forget to log in, you can do it once a quarter. Anytime you can give us your hours, that goes toward our total counts. It doesn't have to be exact to the minute. I'm going to use Eileen as an example. This poor woman works in her yard. How many hours a week? Just on average. Well, she's got a big property, but just at least 20. Let's just, oh, now she's saying more than 20. She doesn't have to log her hours every week. If she logs her hours in once a month, once a quarter, your estimate is what we need. Right now, what we're asking you all to do is please work hard to try to get rid of the chamomile. That's the biggest thing we're asking. The other thing that I'd like to ask everybody here to do is take a picture of this map with your telephone so that you have this map and you can visualize where you are, where your property's at, and what roads you might be able to access. The map that Darren has, we're going to put that online as soon as we can, and we'll put that on Facebook. This right now is a very good visual for everyone to get in and out of. We've got all kinds of people working behind the scenes trying to make our community Firewise. Cody, thank you. He's working on trying to get the roads, the signs on the road. That's helpful. Darren's out there mapping our roads to see what we can do to improve it, especially coming up for evacuation. It's not only for evacuation, it's also to get emergency vehicles into the scene, and that is so important. You know, we need to be able to get out, but they need to be able to get in to stop that fire and get it under control. At this time, I think I'd like to turn it over to Mike. Don't forget, once a month, whenever you can, go onto the Firewise website, log your hours, keep track of what you're doing. It doesn't have to be exact, but we appreciate everything. Go ahead, Teresa.
Yeah, you said at the end of the year, you
We have to, yeah, we
add it up.
it's hard if you do it at a year. I mean,
Well, I had it all jotted down on my iPad, so I added it up and sent it to you.
right, and we got that, and
Right,
we,
and is that okay?
that's okay, however you want to do it. Like I said, there's some people that have the wall calendar, you know, some of us elders still like the calendar on the wall because we like that visual. And I'll put down this, that, or the other. I know my husband goes out and he loves to run the four-wheeler around with a drag, and he'll go and circle Jason too. They love to do that. Well, you know what? If they're out there on Saturday and they're out there for an hour or two, well, you know what? That counts. That counts. And pardon? Log your time, that's exactly right, and we appreciate it. And also, remember when the rains come or the storms come, thank the people that are out there dragging those roads for you, because they make you be able to get in and out. They also make sure that the fire trucks and the ambulances can get in and out too. These guys are doing it of their own free will. Some of them won't take money for gas, but they're out there keeping our roads clear. Thank them. And tell them, hey, log your hours on firewise.com because that'll help us a lot meet our goal. So we appreciate you all, and I'm going to turn it back over to Mike for the important part of the show here.
Okay, if you're not all sick of me yet, we'll talk about kind of separate from Firewise. We're going to talk about evacuations and kind of where we're sitting with the evacuation plan. For the last couple of years, I've been talking about trying to develop a very comprehensive evacuation plan for the community. And long story short, it's the same story it seems like, but we're hitting roadblocks. We just keep hitting roadblocks and roadblocks. The evacuation plan is I don't even know how to say it, but it's far deeper and far more involved than we kind of think it is. So we just keep hitting some delays and delays and delays. So in the meantime, what we can do as a community is we can get involved with our own plans, our own neighborhood plans, our own house plans. We can have our own thoughts. I won't name names, but I'll tell a little bit of a story. On the last fire we had up north a couple of years ago, we had that evacuation. It was about 2 square miles. Kind of came out of nowhere, middle of the night. The fire had been there all day long. There were no real ready, set, go notifications until, bam, it just came, and it was an evacuation order right now in the middle of the night. There was a gentleman who's very involved, and this just kind of just an explanation of how this kind of works as a psychology point of view. Gentleman is very involved in government, very aware of the likelihood of an evacuation, knew that evacuations were a thing, lived in the area, got the evacuation order, and oh my gosh, it's here. It's happening. What do we do? Like froze for just a little while, right? And it was kind of thinking about, now what do we do? Even though you're aware of it ahead of time, there was no plan in place, no personal plan in place, no personal thought process prior to the event. And it just kind of took a little second. Everything went okay, everybody, it worked out. But the more we think about a plan and we think about it on our own, from our own perspective, the more prepared we are. It's preparing for an emergency. It's going through the process in your head, so when it does actually show up, it's not the first time you're there. You've already gone through it in your head. You've already thought about it, and hopefully there's no freeze, there's no pause, there's no delay. So a couple of things we can do, obviously, get a family, we can talk about escape routes or whatever. Just know your area, know your drives, have a couple of different routes out of your home or your neighborhood. We all go to work and come home the same way almost every day. We just know the exact same way we're going. But what was it, a couple of weeks ago, we all realized Rio Verde Drive got shut down, and I was out here too. I was stuck just like everybody else. What do we do? Well, if one of the north-south roads are blocked off for whatever reason, what do we do? Go to your alternate route. And if you have your own plan, your own alternate routes, and you're aware of your own neighborhood, that'll help out a lot. In addition to that, some people call it different things, but a go bag, right? What I have at my house, I keep it in my safe, but I actually have a bag. I got it on Amazon. It's a fire and water resistant bag. And I have all my documents, my deeds, my titles, insurance information, passports, birth certificates, all the really, really important stuff. I'll tell a real quick story. One of my very first fires 20-ish years ago, we went on a house fire. Half of the house was already on fire. The other half was, we saved the other half of the house. Homeowner asked us to go inside into her safe and get her insurance documents, her homeowner's insurance documents for her, because she called the insurance company. This was 20 years ago. I hope it's better now, but she called the insurance company and they claimed they had no record of her. So we had to go into the house, get her insurance documents, bring it out so that she can kind of go through that process. I'm sure with some time it would have worked out on its own, but you don't want to be without those documents, just in case. So if you have all the really important documents in a bag or a dedicated place in your house, so if you do have to go, you just grab that one thing and go. You don't have to think too much about where's this, where's that, all that. A lot of stuff is online now, so if you have it on your phone, that works too, but really important items in one area. Everybody has a different idea of what's important, but for sure, all your deeds, titles, birth certificates, all your insurance documents for sure. In addition to that, so there's a handful of different ways that the public safety can communicate an evacuation or an emergency situation. Most of you have gotten those alerts on your phone, that really obnoxious alert on your phone for weather, for amber alerts, for silver alerts, for all that. That is still very much in place, but there's a couple of extra things that we can do to kind of fine-tune those alerts. One of them is, it's called Smart 911. And Maricopa County Sheriff's Department uses Smart 911. It's a program on your phone or at home. You can go to smart911.com, enter some of your information, whatever you feel comfortable with. You can put all sorts of information in there. What's your address, your telephone number, your email, how many people live in the house, any animals or pets or anything. But that also gives them an absolute geolocation, so it'll kind of come to your phone. You can also set it up to notify you whether you're at home or you're away. A lot of times those weather alerts are only if you're in the area. But if you're on vacation or you're out of town or something like that and you kind of want to know what's going on at home, those notifications, as far as I understand, will still come to you as long as you sign up on that Smart 911. So that's good for MCSO's plan. Rural Metro has our own program, and it's called Community Connect. I've been saying this for a long time, and we really, really need to push this. This helps us in multiple different ways. Community Connect, I'm going to post on Facebook right after this. I'll post afterwards the link to go directly to our program, Community Connect. And it's basically the same thing. Number of people in the house, pets in the house, specific medical conditions, medications, as much or as little as you want. What's going to help us in an evacuation specifically is if you or your neighbors or somebody has mobility issues. We can filter out the specific area of people who have signed up for that Community Connect, and we can filter out people with mobility issues. So those would be the first homes that we make contact with to assist and make sure that people who live in those homes are getting out of there. I think, go ahead.
I was asking, not so long ago, can we update that?
Yes, absolutely.
Because,
Yep.
you know, my husband had a major neck surgery.
Yep.
And I wanted to let you guys know.
Yeah.
Down the street, you're coming.
Yeah,
To our house.
it's a, so you create a profile on there.
We already did.
Yep, and you just go right back into your profile and you change it just as if you were first putting in the information. And as soon as you change it, it's saved on there. So you can constantly update it, you can constantly change it if you don't feel comfortable with it. It's all bank level encryption. I'm no techie encryption guy, but it's all very secure from what I understand. So you can put as much in there as you want to, as much. It also helps just on a day-to-day basis. When we get a 911 call, if it comes to your house on our computer in the fire truck, if we're going to your home, that Community Connect link pops up and we can see, you know, somebody with cardiac issues and medical history and medications. One perfect example is like diabetic issues. So sometimes we'll go to a house for a diabetic issue and we have somebody who's unconscious because of the diabetic issue, but we don't know because they're unconscious. We can't ask them if nobody in the family's there. We already saw that if they signed up for it. We already saw it's diabetic issues, and we can deduce that that's a very likely problem, and it just expedites our treatment for specific info. So it helps in evacuations, but it also helps day to day. So everybody that's here, please sign up for Community Connect. Everybody that's online, please sign up for Community Connect. And if you have neighbors, try to talk them into getting signed up, because it is a humongous resource. It's a great program, and we're able to filter it for all sorts of specific information that we need, and it's up to you, as much information as you want or as little information as you want. It's kind of your choice, but it's helpful for us. You can put gate codes on there, 100%. I set it up for my house, kind of as a test for my house. I even have my garage code on there. You know, whatever you feel comfortable with, but I have garage codes, and then I even went as far as to like say exactly how many and where my baby's bedroom is. So if the house is on fire and I'm not there, I don't care about the house, go straight to that bedroom, you know what I mean, or something. I don't know. You can play around with it, put as much, like I said, as much as you want or as little as you want, but the more information we have, the better it is. A lot of times when you're in an emergency, you call 911, you try to give information to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher relays that information. But that's kind of a game of telephone a little bit. In an emergency, some things get left out, some things forget. It's kind of difficult. So if you put it on there, if you think of it, and like you asked, you can update it as things come to you. You can constantly update it. So that's huge. I'm going to put out, along with all this stuff, so there's always a question as to some people get those alerts and some people don't get the alerts. So it's going to be instructions on how to turn those alerts on your phone, whether you have an Android or an iPhone. So it's going to talk about all that. And you can select emergency alerts, weather alerts, amber alerts, turn them on, turn them off. It'll kind of go over all that stuff. What else can we talk about here? Oops, sorry. It's also going to have a list of resources. So again, the post on Facebook, I'll hand some of these out to for everybody that's here. But resources for Rural Metro's PIO, the PIOs for Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Soleil's information. A lot of you wrote it down when she was saying it. Couple of the water haulers in the area. So obviously we have we have very limited hydrants in the area. We carry our own 2,000 gallon tender that comes with us to any fires, but that's only 3,000 gallons total. Sometimes a house fires many, many, many more gallons of water. So we have a lot of private partnerships, and those are the water haulers in the area that we can call, and they can kind of show up and help us out with water delivery. Red Cross is going to be a big one for us at some point. If the fire's big enough, we're likely to have or potential to have some temporary shelters, cooling station, and information stations. And that's kind of to get people out of the area and then stop, get some information, get some water, and then if needed, if it's big enough, it might be a temporary shelter. All of that information will be sent to you in those notifications that we were just talking about. And it's, again, it's helpful to be connected to or signed up for Smart 911 and Community Connect. So all that information, there's always a question of where do we go for information in a big event. And it's a big undertaking to kind of get all that information out to everybody, but it's super helpful. Smart 911 and Community Connect is going to help a whole lot. Social media, of course, is a resource, but social media isn't 100% reliable. There's always a lot of information on there. Sometimes it's hard to find exactly what you're looking for. So those sign-ups are going to be kind of what you want. And that's about it. Am I missing anything, Debbie? Does anybody have any questions, anything, any concerns or anything I might be able to? Sure, go right ahead.
I have a situation where a realtor has a house up for sale, that's 10 acres of the property was cleared, and now it is knee-high in skin.
Yeah.
I know, and I agree with Cody, I don't want to have an HOA or anything like that. Is there anything we can put out to the realty community and say, your vacant property needs to be addressed, or that there's a potential fire danger? This person that's the house up for sale, it does not even reside there anymore, and he's created such an incredible fire danger for us all.
Yeah.
And I contacted the realtor about a month ago, and let's just say a landscape person showed up, and I caught him going down our lush, and I heard him say to the guy, her wings look fine. And I piped up because I was in the wash right behind him, and I said, they sure in the heck do, because I'd never allow my property to look like this.
Yeah.
There's been no response. The weeds have not been knocked down. Nothing's been taken care of. So I didn't know if this is something, because there obviously he was looking at me that I was a woman and that was nagging and trying to create an issue.
Yeah.
I was just pure and simple.
Yeah, for everybody online, the question, and it's kind of always been a question, is vacant private property that's not being maintained or doesn't seem to be being maintained. That's always been a difficulty for us because, number one, who owns the property? Number two, do they care about the property? Do they even live in Arizona or the area? We don't know. So it's always a difficult thing. It's private property, so that we don't really have any jurisdiction over telling anybody you have to do this. Without an HOA, without city, yeah.
They're looking at me as being a nosy neighbor.
Well, you're not. That's, yeah.
From a institution like the fire captain with letterhead saying that your property
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know, it's right down the street from here.
Yeah, it would have to be a request. We can't force anybody.
He's got the house up for sale for $6 million.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It would have to be a notification and a request that, that something's done there. As far as I know, we don't really have any jurisdiction or right to force anybody in the county to maintain it.
contact the Board of Realtors and just say, because like I said, I've been in contact with
Yeah.
the realtor.
Yeah, that's gonna,
process.
yeah, it's gonna have to be a community program, really. It's gonna have to be neighbors helping neighbors. It's gonna have to be, you contacting if you get in touch, if you know who owns it, and it's just, yeah, and it's just gonna have to be a request. And, you know, what's that saying? You get more bees with honey than whatever? I don't know the saying, but
Like I
if
said,
you,
asked
yeah.
nicely for a month and to address the issue, and it's got nowhere other than it coming back on me saying that
Yeah.
I was a nosy and a bitchy neighbor.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know, does anybody have any, I know you mentioned it might be a good idea to, if anybody's a lawyer, has any experience with that, just to be able to ask questions and see if there is anything we can do, but,
I always wondered if I don't take care of my property and
It allows somebody else to burn.
Yeah.
comes through, accelerates it,
yeah.
my neighbor's house burns down because of my neglect, am I liable? I would think I would be.
Yeah, that's way over my head. That's a whole legal liability issues, and I can't speak on it, to be honest with you.
Well, like Cody says, we don't want to become an HOA or
Right.
anything like that, but I want that person to be, and I can't mandate them to be a good neighbor.
Yeah, and I don't think we can mandate them to be a good neighbor either. To answer your question, I don't think there's any, anybody who can mandate it.
Coming from a request coming from,
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to, if you have the neighbor, if you know the neighbor, if you send us kind of as much information you can, I'd be happy to send a letter and just request and say, hey, if you're able to clean it up, but, you know, there's nothing that we can force anybody to do,
no,
so.
I wouldn't want to force anybody, but I
Yeah.
just, you know, like you said, we are
Yeah.
a community here.
Yeah.
And he's not part of the community.
Yeah,
And he lives now down in Wickenburg, bought another place besides this one.
Yeah.
And, so they kind of abandoned it and has it up for sale, and I'm gonna be the one that pays the price.
yeah, if I can help in any way, I'm happy to try to help. I just don't know how much help I can be. In a situation like that with private property and somebody's ignoring it, I don't know what I can do, but I can try to help.
Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, just give me as much information as you can, and we'll kind of go from there and see what we can do. But anybody else, anything, any questions?
Draft a letter to the realtors in our area.
Yeah,
Exactly. Listings and private property, you know, that are out here and that are either people not living, not occupied, or that there's a problem. You could do a general letter, maybe saying, being a good reminder.
yeah, more, I don't know, more marketing of clean your yard, I guess. That's just kind of what it comes down to. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody have anything to say or any questions, anything? Nope. Come out next weekend. When is it again, Cody? 2 to 4 on Saturday. It's Cody Ream's going to be here, and he's going to be talking about politics in the area. Long story short, I don't really know how to say anything else. Town hall. It'll be a town hall. There it is.
Should we bring your drinks, Tony?
Maybe two afterwards.
It's his event. We're just letting him use it. Let him use the area. Okay. I think we're good. Thanks, Ed.